Okay, so we have recording started. All right, welcome everybody. Today we are taking a virtual vacation to the islands of Hawaii. For anybody who's not familiar with Take a Virtual Vacation, if this is the first time you've joined us, I'll go through a quick explanation of what this is and what we do. Take a Virtual Vacation came out of stay-at-home orders during the pandemic that, of course we couldn't travel and we were going a little stir crazy and we were looking for a way that we could still travel. And we came up with virtual vacations. So we've gone every week for the last 10 or 12 weeks to a different destination. If you want to see our past sessions, we do have them all recorded for you. We record all of these. So of course today this is being recorded as well, because we know, obviously, because of the timing, that it's a little hard for everybody to make it here live. So that's why we do record them. So today we're going to Hawaii on taking a virtual vacation. And in doing so, we are going to quickly introduce you to who everybody is that put this together. So this was put together by 5 travel agents. Myself, I'm Susan Schaefer. I'm located in Middle Tennessee, just south of Nashville, and I own Ships and Trips Travel. We have Maria Stephanopoulos.
Hello.
Hi, that's Maria. Maria is located in the greater Tampa Bay area of Florida. She owns Ingenious Travel. And then in California, we have 2 travel agents. We have Barbara Oliver. She owns All Together Now Travel. And Gail Sherman owns Wine Lovers Travel. And then up in the Michigan area, we have Candace Stearns, who owns Stay Balanced Travel. And then where to find Take a Virtual Vacation. So if you want to, you'll either find our recorded sessions, or if you are looking for where we're going next, you can find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. It's called Take a Virtual Vacation. And Maria is going to put all of these links in the chat box. So if anybody wants to copy or paste them out of the chat box, you'll be able to do so. We also have a YouTube channel. And in YouTube, you could just search for Take a Virtual Vacation to find us. And then we've started creating meetup groups, because right now, we're doing everything online. Eventually, someday, we're hoping we can get back to meeting in person. And when we do that, we're going to be talking about eating, drinking, and traveling. So we called it Eat, Drink, Travel. We have Eat, Drink, Travel, Greater Tampa Bay, Middle Tennessee, and Detroit. And then hopefully we'll have other destinations in the future. So this is where you can find us online. And then eventually you'll be able to find us in person. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I am going to introduce Carlos. And Carlos is going to take us to the islands of Hawaii.
Yes, well, hello everybody out there. Especially, I used to live in Michigan, I used to live in California, and any place else. I went to 32 different schools growing up in life. So if I wasn't at your place, I probably would have been there sooner or later. But we're going to Hawaii, but I like to have a little bit of fun. So I'm a geography nut, and I found this question last night, and I said, hey, let's have a little bit of fun. So I'm in Los Angeles, make believe. What is the furthest city away from me? Miami, New York City, Anchorage, or Honolulu? Do. The answer is Honolulu. That is the furthest away from Los Angeles of all the cities I announced. So it is a long ways away. It's the most isolated population center in the world. They're basically, if you want to say it, they're out in the middle of nowhere. And we're the only state where it's increasing in size due to the volcanic eruptions. But let's get over to a little bit about Pleasant Holidays. We are 4 different brands, and Pleasant Holidays and Journeys is our luxury brand. Believe it or not, we started in Hawaii in 1959, the same year Hawaii became a state. Unfortunately, I just sold out of the $199 10-day 3-island trips. So that's how much it costs back then. Incredible. So Pleasant is our main brand, and Journeys is our luxury brand, 4 and 5 star properties, private villas and home. Pleasant does everything from 3 to 5 star properties, but no private villas and home. And then we're an air consolidator, and we sell activities by itself. But we're, to the travel agent community, we are I was an award winner, and these are only part of the awards we won last year. We were named the best tour operator for 16 consecutive years by Travel Weekly. That's the biggest travel magazine in the travel industry. Travel Age West, 13 consecutive years, and we've won a number of other awards around. You'll find us all over the place, but we're probably the name you've never heard of before, because almost 99.9% of our sales are done through travel agents. And Journeys, 100% of that is done through travel agents. So if you want to get any of our deals, it's through travel agents, and we will meet or beat anybody without even trying. Costco, Expedia, whatever. We beat them over 80% of the times. And if you have a problem with them, who are you going to run to? If you have a problem, you run to your travel agent. The travel agent can run to us. We can run to the hotel. We have about 4 people fighting for you. If you go to another online or whatever, you have no one fighting for you. So I always go to a travel agent. They're worth it. They don't charge a dime, or they might put a service fee on, but it's incredible what a travel agent does. To me, they are a frontline employee. So let's go to a little bit of Hawaii. We're the number one company there. We have block space at selected hotels, which I'll talk about, and we're the only company outside of Southwest Vacations that can sell Southwest Airlines to Hawaii. And we work with all the different airlines. And with Pleasant Journeys, we have over 900 activities. In fact, with our Pleasant activities, we have over 1,500 activities in Hawaii. We sell other things, but we're the concierge at over 40 hotels around Hawaii, including the Disney Aulani. So if you need help and you have a problem, we're right around the corner, probably next door. And again, those prepaid rooms I'll talk about. And Journeys has some private homes and villas, 2 bedrooms up to 13-bedroom homes. This is another unique thing about us. Normally we're on 4 islands, but this year on the Big Island, the hotel decided to be sold in late February. So they bought our contract out for the rest of the year, and which in a sense for us was a godsend, because the hotel sale fell apart in April and we didn't have to rebook it. But we're going to have all 4 main islands again next year. We have in Maui, we have the Moana Surfrider, and we are going to get we're going to have a luxury one, probably the Moana, but we've already had a contract signed for 2021 at the Aston Waikiki. In Maui, we have the Grand Wailea and the Sheraton in Maui, and the Sheraton Maui, the contract has been signed for 2021, and I think the Grand Wailea is pretty close to being signed. And then the Marriott in Kauai, and I believe that one just got signed yesterday, if I remember reading all my emails. But regardless, we have a number of hotels. We're going to have 4 or 5 hotels that we have block space. Here's the beauty of it is, if the hotel is sold out, if you call the hotel directly, you should call a travel agent. But if you call the hotel directly, the hotel sold out, they can't sell our rooms. We own them. We bought those rooms, so many garden rooms, so many oceans rooms, so many suites, every single night, 365, starting from about January 5th to about January the 4th every year. And then everyone has discounts at the spa, and everyone also has either breakfast included or some type of food and beverage credit or a resort credit. So these are exclusive deals. Comparing us to Expedia as an example, the Grand Wailea on a 1 week, we were over $1,000 less expensive last year than Expedia. So again, those online agencies, they're not that low. they're over 80% of the times, like I said, we can beat them. We also have, like I said, with Journeys, our private homes and villas. Now, let's go to the destination itself. Now, you see where Kauai is today? It was born where the Big Island is. So over the millions and millions of years, it got pushed. It gets pushed about 6 inches a year. These islands get pushed around on average. And it's 132 islands stretching all across. And flying from LA, it's about 5.5 hours. And from Florida, it's 6 hours behind, but it does not observe daylight savings time. Now, if you look at the Hawaiian flag, it goes, well, wait a minute, what's the Union Jack doing there? It was, Hawaii was never under the United Kingdom. But the King George III, as a token of appreciation, gave the King of Hawaii, Kamehameha, he gave him a flag of the United Kingdom. And during the War of 1812, the Americans put up their flag. Well, they got upset, and the king said nope, and he put the British flag around every island. And at that point, during the War of 1812, the king commissioned a new flag, and that incorporated both nations. So the stripes on this are the stripes representing the major islands of Hawaii. So that's a little history on the Hawaiian flag. The weather in Hawaii is more like South Florida. So you can have hot or nice weather. You have all sorts of weather, and we'll talk about that later on during our presentation. So let's start off with Oahu. Now, this is where you land, is in Oahu for Honolulu. Now, to get from Honolulu to Waikiki at 2 in the morning, it's about a 30-minute drive. Now, you hear me say 2 in the morning. I said that on purpose because Honolulu has the 5th worst traffic jam in the entire United States. So it can take literally an hour and a half to 2 hours to get from Honolulu to Waikiki. The traffic is horrendous. With that in mind, I do not recommend renting a car here in Waikiki unless you're leaving the area. If you're leaving the area, rent the car for a day, go up country or whatever, do what you want to do, and come back and dump the car. Parking is also very expensive here. So now a little bit about Honolulu itself. This is the largest city in the world. And you're going, Carlos, you're crazy. What have you been drinking? It's not vodka, it's water. But it is true by area. According to the Constitution of Hawaii, if you're not part of a county, then you are part of Honolulu. And the whole island of Oahu is Honolulu. So when you see Hawaii 5-0, they're going all over the place, not just staying in Honolulu. The whole area is Honolulu. And then all the little islands going past Kauai, way past Midway, but Midway is not part of Hawaii. It's part of the Hawaiian Atoll, but it is not part of the state of Hawaii, and keeps on going. So the city of Honolulu is over 1,500 miles long. It's basically LA to Denver, distance-wise. So by area, it is the largest city in the world. And you go to Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor had a renovation, and then they did some minor fixing of it. That minor fixing closed the place down for over 2 years. It reopened this last Labor Day weekend. And so very high security at Pearl Harbor. So if you have a even a banana, they frowned on me taking a banana in it, but I was eating it along the way. I had to throw it away. Well, I was already done with it. I just had the peels. But a bottle of water, whatever, you cannot take that. Um, if it's, you can take, if you, whatever you take, you must put at the locker at the visitor center. You cannot leave it on the bus. So very, very strict with security here. You are on a naval base. And incredible the visitor center has incredible videos about Pearl Harbor, and you also have the USS Bowfish and the Battleship Memorial, and the Battleship Memorial is where World War II ended, and that's also part of that. So you can see the memorial itself is basically the beginning, and then the Battleship Missouri was the end of the war. Around the National Cemetery is called the Punch Bowl, and inside the Punch Bowl there are like little caves. And during the war, they're worried about the Japanese coming in and taking all the U.S. currency. Well, back then, the U.S. currency could be traded in for gold. Well, wait a minute. If the Japanese commandeered Hawaii, took all the U.S. currency that are in the banks and everything, and then we could be paying for the war effort against ourselves. So we hid the currency in the mountains until new currency was brought in. And the new currency looks like the US dollar. It has everything, the markings of the US dollar, but it says Hawaii on it. And so it was not legal tender in the United States. Now remember, Hawaii was not part of the United States at that point. It was a territory. And that's another story with Sanford Dole and the like, as having a renegade group to form the Republic of Hawaii, which then, with the help of the United States government, was able to secure Hawaii. And they put the Queen into hostage into her own home. But the only royal residence we've ever had is in Hawaii. And their residence had electricity before the White House did. So that's kind of another unique thing. In Oahu, the Polynesian Culture Center, they have groups from all over the areas, and French Polynesia has two here, the Marquesas and Tahiti. This is closed on Sundays because it's run by the Mormon Church. But they do have people here from their authentic home areas to participate and talk about their home area. You go up to the North Shore area, and then you can get that famous Hawaiian shave ice, the best ones up there. Also the Bonsai Pipeline. Now this is during the winter time. If you come here during the summertime and you're going, wait a minute, where's this Bonsai Pipeline? The waves are only like 4 or 5 feet tall. The big surf comes during the winter time, and it's not a consistent thing. So when the surfers hear that the winds are coming, bingo, to heck with their job, they're going to go out surfing. So the Bonsai Pipeline is strictly a winter situation only. And here we have the Dole Plantation, even though the largest plantation was in the island of Lanai. So we have all sorts of things here concerning pineapples and the like. Also, a number of films were made in Oahu. Now we run over to Maui, and Maui is probably the most interesting place for us 48ers. That's where a lot of people like to go and veg out. Honolulu, back in Oahu, that is live action, lots of action. If you want that, that's where you go to. Then Maui is a lot more subdued, and then after that, it even gets quieter and quieter, and almost very quiet. So Maui has some action, but all the main action is in Honolulu. So this is the what's it here in Maui is the Halikaha crater. This is the largest crater in the world, dormant volcano in the world. From the airport, it's about a 45-minute drive either direction to either the southwest coast or the north west coast. So a car is a must at all the other major islands from now on. Incredible whale watching here from December through April. I've seen whales come in though about mid-November to mid-April is my favorite time to go whale watching. When's the best time to go to Hawaii? Well, this is when I start talking about my whales then. I found going to Hawaii right after Thanksgiving, but before Christmas. So the Monday or Tuesday after Thanksgiving, up until about December the 15th or 18th, you're going to get some incredible deals, airfare-wise and hotel-wise. And the whales are already beginning to start coming in to give you a show. Another time is the weekend after Christmas and a couple weeks after, weekend after New Year's. So the first weekend of January, up to about the third week of January, you're going to have some great deals too. And the whales are really going here in Maui. And then another good time is the week after Easter. So it all depends on when Easter is, up until a week before Memorial Day. So that's when I found the best times to go there, some great deals. Also, while I'm talking about some other things here, the best luau to me was in Maui. And that's the old Lahaina luau. And this is the truest and most authentic of all the luau's. Very hard to get in. You need a reservation literally about 6 months in advance. And you also won't see any fire and knife dancing here. That's not historically accurate for Hawaii. That's more in the Polynesian area, other Polynesian area. Polynesia goes from all the way from New Zealand all the way up to Hawaii, and there's a lot of different cultures along the way. So in Hawaii itself, that was not part of their historical culture. So that is not in there. You do need a permit to go up here. It costs about $1.50, and they only let so many cars up a day. Otherwise, if you want to go up here, is get the sunrise, is take a tour, one of the activities. And that way you don't have to drive here. It can be scary driving here too. The clouds come in and whatever. So I find taking the tour is the best way to do it. But for those who want to do their own thing, you need a permit before you get up. And if you left the permit at home, sorry, Charlie. If the weather's bad, sorry, Charlie. You only lost $1.50, but it is what it is. The road to Hana, this is for a lot of twists and turns. There are 617 curves and 26 bridges, and most of the bridges are one-lane bridges. If you have vertical, do not come here. At the same time, this is some beautiful areas and waterfalls and places to go swimming and the like. So I would, take a tour. That's why you don't have to worry about the driving of this and you can enjoy it more, or buy an app for your cell phone. There's also CDs, but some cars don't have CD players anymore. So you got, but if they have a CD player, you can buy a CD at a gasoline station. But I found the best one was an app because it knows exactly where you're at and they'll tell you, okay, park here, 25 yards in, there's a place to go swimming. So that's something else. I forgot one other thing went over at the crater. I'm going to back up here. There is a unique flower here that called the silver sword It's only found in the national park, and it's only found on 2,400, about 2,500 acres of land in the national park. This flower takes 15 to 50 years to bloom, and it blooms once and then dies off. And so it's a very unique flower and only found here at Halekulani National Park. Now let's run over to Kauai. Kauai is the greenest of all the islands. The most rainfall in the world is in Waialeale, which it rains here approximately 510 inches a year. You're talking about feet and feet of water. Over about 80% of the land, probably more, is a park. So this is the quietest of all the islands. At 6 o'clock, the place is shut down. And again, this is the oldest of all the islands. This is over 6 million years old. Not great beaches here. A lot better beaches in Maui or in the Oahu. No tall buildings either here. So a lot of movies have been filmed here. And again, the drive time is 30 minutes to an hour to get to your hotels here. And again, like I said, car is a must. This is a great place for honeymooners and nature lovers. This is where Fantasy Island was filmed. Also, movies including Jurassic Park, Outbreak. And I like to say this is a unique thing. Outbreak was filmed here, but it was also filmed in my house in Pasadena, California. So that was kind of a unique thing. Blue Hawaii, and Blue Hawaii was filmed in the grotto here and then also South Pacific. And also Gilligan's Island was also filmed here. And I believe the last one of the, or number 4, as they call it, of Pirates of the Caribbean was filmed here. So quite a few places, quite a few films were filmed here. This is the only island that has a navigable river. Not a major one, but at least you can put a boat on it. A lot of activities to do here. And one of the neat things to do is go down to the old irrigation ditches. And in fact, if you see on the upper right side, the guy's wearing a helmet or has a little light on because part of it goes underground. But that's about the furthest drop you have. It's more of a lazy river type situation. And then Waimea Canyon, and this is the known as the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. It's about 12 miles long and it's 3,500 feet deep. You know, if you took the sign away, you swear you were at the Grand Canyon. And one other island nearby, not to visitors, is Niha Hawaii. This is called the Forbidden Island. It was sold by the king well over 100 years ago, and it was to the Robinson family. And the Robinson, under the opposites that the king would, or the Robinson family would keep it Hawaiian. So up until the 3rd grade, basically, in the school on the island, only Hawaiian is taught. No English is taught until after the 4th grade. That's where the classes are then turned into English. Only you must be a guest to come in here from the island. Literally only about 100 to 150 people a year get to go on this island. So very, very unique. So when the time that we had in Hawaii, the Hawaiian language was forbidden. It was forbidden until the 60s. the only one place you can speak Hawaiian was in this island. That's about 17 miles offshore of Kauai. Now we go over to the Big Island. And I say big island, it's a big island. It's over 4 hours to go across from Kona to Hilo. So you can put all the other Hawaiian islands together and then double the size, and you still don't reach how big the Big Island is. The Big Island is called Hawaii, which makes it confusing. So it's Hawaii, Hawaii. So in this island, there are 10 of the world's 14 climates here. So you can be in a desert, you can be in a tropical rainforest, you can be in something else every 15 minutes. It's incredible. And this is the only place in the United States where you can grow coffee is here on the Big Island. Also, most of the world's macadamia nuts come from here. There are two main airports, and let me back up here. Over in Hilo on the east side, and Kona on the west side. Most people go to Kona. And again, another place where a car is a must. Very minimal nightlife here, and the beaches are not great here. It's the island that still keeps on growing. A little bit smaller now since the volcano turned itself off, but Hawaii is the only state, literally that's still growing. And it's the youngest. This is where the Polynesians first landed, probably a couple thousand years ago. And they probably came here from the Marquesas Islands, which is in French Polynesia today. The ranch here, Parker Ranch, is the largest continuous ranch in the United States. It has 480,000 acres of land. And the Big Island is also the furthest point south in the United States. So this is even with Cuba. So so a lot further south than even Key West is. So contrary to popular belief, people think, oh, Florida's the furthest point south. No, it's Hawaii. And Hawaii is the only state where you can have a winter storm warning, but be 80 degrees on the beach. So I guess you can do that in California too. There's the furthest state south in the United States that has guaranteed snow every year. But again, don't worry, that's up in the mountains. It's 80 degrees down at sea level. And we also have the houses the largest telescopes in the world and the most scientific observatories than any place else in the world. And when you go up here, you can see stars in the northern and so, since it's so far south, you start seeing a lot of the southern hemisphere stars. Another thing about the Big Island is the mountains. The what do you call it? The tallest mountain in the world is here. So most people say, well, wait, that's Mount Everest. No, that's the highest. Mauna Kea is from the seafloor all the way up to the top is almost 2,000 feet taller than Mount Everest. And Hawaii National Park, Volcano National Park is open after the situations they had a little over a year ago. And so, parts of the park are still closed, but and unfortunately the lava is not flowing like it is showing here anymore. It was the longest active volcano in the world. It went on spewing lava into the ocean for years. I mean, like over 20 some odd years. Now we go to Molokai. Molokai is known as the most Hawaiian of all the islands. This is really going back in time here. This is the birthplace of the hula. There are no fancy hotels here. So if you're looking for the Ritz-Carlton, you don't want to go here. The tallest sea cliffs in the world are located here. And there are no traffic lights or shopping malls or anything like that here. Now, over in the north side where the airplane is, that was the former leper colony or Hansen's disease. And to this day, you still need permission to get in there. It's run by the National Park System now. There are people who live there since the beginning who had Hansen's disease. Now there's a cure for that, but descendants are still there. You cannot go in there without permission, and the only way to get in and out of there is by airplane. No boat is allowed within like 2 or 3 miles away from the coastline. So they want to leave those people as closed off as possible. But even right now with the COVID situation, that whole area is closed off because since everybody is most of the people there are elderly, they'd be very susceptible to the disease. But it's a really fascinating area. And again, this is where Father Damien went to help out the people here, and this is where he's buried. The national park, like I said, they used to have a mule ride down to the bottom. That about 2 years ago, it got washed out. They are working on rebuilding the trail down to the bottom, but it's closed indefinitely due to a landslide. Now we go over to our last island that's inhabited in Hawaii. And this is probably the most known as the most secluded island. This is a picture of Shipwreck Beach. To get here, there's a number of ferries over from Maui. And this island is owned by Larry Ellison. He owns 98% of it. 2% is owned by the state of Hawaii. This used to be the have the largest pineapple plantation. In fact, 75% of all your pineapples in the past came from Lanai. And then also some Hualope Bay is known as a marine reserve and considered one of the best diving spots in the world. And there's only 3 paved roads here. Like I said, some of the highlights here are Shipwreck Beach, and one of my favorites is the Garden of the Gods. So with that, I hope you enjoyed your little trip around Hawaii. There are only 2 hotels here, and both are owned or managed. One's a wellness, can be a wellness hotel, and then the one down here at the beach, that's a Four Seasons. And so that's what we have to show with Hawaii. And with that, I want to say mahalo.
Thank you, Carlos.
Mahalo back. Okay, so we do have some questions. I don't know if you have any questions, Maria, but I've got a couple.
Okay, I do have.
That came in.
Yeah, I have one. First one is actually, hang on, where did I just do that? I put it into a document so I wouldn't lose it. You know what, Susan, you go first. I think I closed my page.
Well, because one of the questions that I had come in was asking, you know, when going to Hawaii, how many days should you plan on going? And I know part of it would probably involve how many islands you wanted to go to. But I mean, like how many days per island would you suggest?
It all depends. For California, that's like going a weekend trip like we do going in Florida, going down to Cancun, even though it's a lot further flying time. but they go down there even for a weekend. But for the people out in the East Coast, basically Central and East, minimum 1 week. And I would go there, and I would not break up the trip by stopping over in LA or San Francisco or something like that on the way over. You never have, very rarely do you have problems going westbound. It's eastbound that kills you. So if you want to stop over in LA or San Francisco, do it on the way back. And otherwise, you're going to have a red eye. You'll be taking a red eye to get home if you're on the East Coast, basically, in almost every case. But that's what I would do if you're going to do that. East Coast, 1 week, West Coast, 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
And if you want to do 2 islands, minimum 1 week, minimum 1 week. There's too much to see and do.
Perfect. Now, I know this, but I'm going to let you answer the question. How expensive how should you budget for eating in Hawaii?
Expensive. But go to the local places. They're reasonably priced. But Hawaii is one of the most expensive cities in the United States. Them and Anchorage fight to be the most expensive. So another way, if you're looking about budgets or anything, we have on both Pleasant and then with Journeys, we have the homes and villas, but Pleasant, we have the condos and apartments and whatever. So if you want to go over and buy your own food, get off the airplane, buy your own food and cook it yourself, you can save considerably a lot of money. What I really do is I leave the hotel and go down to where the locals are eating, and I can get a heck of a meal at a reasonable price.
Okay. That's all I had, Maria.
Okay, the question I've got is for a first timer, where do you recommend they visit first?
Well, most first timers usually go to Oahu to get the history and the like of Pearl Harbor and the like, and Maui. Those are the 2 main ones. For romance or a wedding or say honeymoons or something like that, Kauai. For a lot of activities, also look at the Big Island. And I will also book your activities, a lot of the activities, luau, like I said before, some of the helicopter tours, especially like on the Big Island or in the like, they sell out. So books those before you depart. Otherwise, you'll be, the sad thing, you go over there, and I went over last time was in late April, so low season, and the people were upset they couldn't get into the luau's. Well, sorry, you got to book those. The good ones sell out fast. So again, that's what you should do. Is and they have suggestions. We also have suggestions for them and whatever. And so look at some of your activities and buy your activities in advance so you're not upset about it. Also, most of the times, if you don't want to go, you can cancel your activity and get your money back with usually like a 24 or 48 hour notice. But some of the things, again, it depends on the activities. The helicopter ones and maybe some of the luau's might be stricter on their cancellation policy. But a lot of them, you can cancel or rebook it for another time if there's availability.
Okay, you mentioned being able to have the snow up in the mountains and being at the beach. So do you guys have skiing in Hawaii?
No, there's no. Well, you technically no, there is no skiing in Hawaii. Some people do it, but no, technically there's no skiing in Hawaii. And it's a very, very high elevation. So you are a lot higher than virtually almost anything in the United States. So you can lose your breath, and the roads, you can't take your cars up there. You have to then transfer over to another vehicle to take you higher up. because
Wonderful.
cars won't be permitted that high up, elevation-wise.
There was a question that came in about a turtle conservatory. They can't think of the name and they don't remember where they read which island it's on.
Well, there's a bunch. The ones I can think of the most are in Kauai, the green turtles up there. But that's where I would say most that I remember were in the island of Kauai. But there's even some in like in the Maui area and the like. But I would say the most of them I saw were up in the Kauai area.
Okay, and there's one more question. Also, is there a better place? Can you swim with the turtles, number one? And if so, is there a better place to do it?
Yes, you can, but you can't touch them or anything, and you can't provoke them. You can't go out and try to feed them to come to you or anything like that. It's some of the best. I'm not gonna say diving because I'm not a diver. It was in the Maui area. They got some places that you can wear go down in one of the craters and wear a snuba. So it's like a scuba. It's a helmet over your head, and it's weighted down so the water doesn't get in there. But it's when you're underwater, you don't feel the weight, and so you can be underwater and you're getting the air from upstairs, so you don't have to worry about all that it coming out of my mouth or something like that because you're not breathing. You're breathing regular air, and so that's another way. If you're not a scuba diver or anything like that, there's other ways to go down and see. So snorkel or whatever.
Very cool. And then one of our guests, Joyce, she says, thank you. Grew up on Oahu Beach. Oh, wow. Treks, Meshubi, dim sum, very inexpensive.
Yeah.
I'm guessing those are also local.
Also in,
like you were
what
talking
do you
about.
call it? Especially in Oahu, I found a lot of lavender too. So if you leave the go up, they call it going up country. You go into and see a lot of lavenders and stuff. So just don't spend the time on the beach. You go other places. There's a lot to see. So everything's more than beaches and stuff.
That seems to be the first thing everybody thinks of with Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. All right, that's all the questions I have, Susan. I don't know if you got any more in.
Nope, that is it.
Well, I want to say thank you, mahalo, and aloha to everybody, and enjoy yourself. And Hawaii is an awesome place. Unfortunately, it's closed right now until September 1st, and even then, when it opens, it might not be totally open. But but pleasant holidays can take you there. Again, we're bigger than anybody else, and we're 3 times bigger than our closest competitor. So I always have the best deals, and we know Hawaii inside and out. Especially, we were born when Hawaii became a state. So we've been going there as long as Hawaii's been around.
Wonderful. Susan, you want to wrap up with letting
Yep.
our guests know where we're going next?
Yep, we are done with Hawaii, and next week we are going back into the 48 states, and we will be traveling through Kentucky on the Bourbon Trail. And we're going to be learning about bourbon and the countryside of Kentucky. So if you want to join us next week, and then if you want to check out the Facebook page, and again, this is where you can find us, but you can check out our future destinations for August. Besides the Bourbon Trail, we're going to the Galapagos, Montreal in Quebec, Canada, and Machu Picchu in Peru.
Oh, hey man, hey, I want to join these.
Absolutely.
Hey, you can.
FYI, I'm a Kentucky colonel, so legally my name is the Honorable Carlos Banks, and my grandmother is a direct descendant to the last Inca king. Her name was Kusikanki, which means happy one in the language. And here's a trivia question for your people then on that day. Cusco is on your body. I go, huh? Everybody has a Cusco. Cusco means navel or belly button because that was the center of the Inca universe.
Nice.
Thank you. Okay, so we are done for today, and everybody, we will see you again next week. Next week it is going to be, correct me if I'm wrong, Maria, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time,
That's correct.
so 1:30 p.m. Pacific.
Yep. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And you can save the chat, which has the contact information, by going to in the chat area on the bottom right, you'll see 3 dots. You can click on that and then click on Save Chat.
Yep. So
Take care.
we'll see you next
Thanks,
week. Thank you.
Carlos. Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Aloha.